Hi, this is John from portablefreewaregames.com, and I'm not here to show you a game. What I'm going to show you is how to make a basic 3D text animated YouTube intro using a program called Blender. To give you a sort of rough idea of what I'm talking about, I've got one I made earlier that you can have a look at and tell me what you think. And that's basically it. If you're interested in learning how to make a 3D intro like that, keep watching, and if you're not interested, then fair enough. Okay, the first thing you're going to have to do is to download and install Blender. So if you go to your browser and type in blender.org, that'll take you to the Blender website. You want to choose this download button, and you've got your choices here. By default, the Windows options are highlighted first. You can either get it in an installer or a zip. You can get it in a 64-bit or a 32-bit. And if you're not sure what kind of operating system you have, if you're not sure it's a 32 or a 64-bit, just take the 32-bit and that should just work just fine. And as you can see, it's got options here for Mac, Linux, source code, daily builds, just about everything you can imagine that you're going to need. So if you download that, it's about 55 megabytes. So it'll take a couple of minutes and then you'll be ready to go. Okay, now that you've downloaded and installed Blender, it's time to make a start. Let's double click this icon, and this is the startup screen. This is the startup screen for Blender 2.71, which is the version that I've got right now. To get rid of this splash screen, just click somewhere, anywhere, and it should show you something like this. At this point I should really tell you what you need for Blender is a mouse with a scroll button in the middle. It's a very small thing, but it's very important. It makes your life an awful lot easier with Blender. And you can pick them up. You can pick up a mouse on eBay for $1.99, whatever, just as cheap as you like. Because when you've got a scroll button, you can click anywhere and you can manoeuvre the camera angle or the view to any view you like. Any view you can think of, you can make it happen. So anyway, I'll just assume that you've got a scroll mouse and you're ready to continue. What we want to do is get rid of these three objects. This is a cube here in the middle, just a random object. This is a light source up here, and this is a camera. So to delete anything, you right click on it once, type X, and you get the option to delete, yes. Right click, X, delete. Right click, X, delete. And what you want to do is put your icon somewhere near the middle and go down to this bottom left hand corner here and click add text. In some of the older versions of Blender, these options here are in the top left hand corner, not the bottom left, but they should still be there. So as you can see, I've got the text right up here in the middle of the screen. If I just adjust the screen angle a wee bit, you can see it. And what I want to do now is click the tab button, and that allows you to edit the text. You can type in anything you want. I'll just type in .com and go back in there and use the space bar to move that along to the end. And now you want to come down to this bottom left here and change this mode here from edit mode to object mode. So we're now in object mode, and we can move the text around. So what you want to do is move it up about 3/4 of the way up the screen, and then across till it's about halfway. And then you want to type R and then X, and you can adjust this to any angle that you like after typing in R and X, or you can just type in the degree that you want it altered to. I know that I want this at 90 degrees, so I'm going to type in 90, enter. And now I've got a text sitting at 90 degrees. It's looking okay. I'll just put this up at a level there. As you can see, some of this writing is underneath the grid. You want it all above the grid. So there we go. It's looking okay. And now you want to pull this panel out a wee bit, just so you can see all these icons here. We're going to be using some of these. Okay, the first one, the wee blue circle, that's your world icon. Click on that, and it gives you a few different options and a few things you can alter. The only thing I'm going to be showing you how to use is this one here, horizon colour. Basically it's the colour of the background. What colour do you want your background to be? So if you click on that, as you can see, you can have basically any colour you like over here on the left, or you can have somewhere on the grayscale here on the right. Most guys that I've seen doing tutorials for this choose to make a pure black, a jet black background. Me personally, I prefer a very light grey, almost white background, like that. That's the colour I'm looking for. Okay, the next wee one on this bar, and the next wee icon you want to click is this F here, F for font. If you click on that, it goes again, it offers you quite a few options, but we're only going to use a few. This one here, extrude, that's just asking about how wide you want your letters to be. I like to click on this, and I usually go with 0.35. And as you can see up here, it's changed the image quite a bit. It's now in 3D. And resolution, set that to 1 or 2. That just gives the letters a little bit less of a sharp edge. Scroll down, and you've got fonts, regular. If you want to change the font, like I'm just going to do, you click on the wee folder, and that shows you all your Windows folders. You click Windows, font, and that shows you all the fonts you installed in the computer. Me personally, I know that I'm going to go with this one, Bauhaus 93. And as you can see, it's changed the text quite a bit. It's actually changed it a wee bit too much. It's moved with that .com. I need to change that. If you want to change it, anything at all at any time, just go back into edit mode. That'll do. And back into object mode. And then back here on the fonts, you've got size. You can adjust the size. You can either go up and down using these wee arrows at the side, or you can type in exactly what size you want. I know I want 1.1, so that's what I'm going to type in, 1.1. And that's just about finished with the fonts. And the last icon you're going to click on this wee toolbar is this wee yellow and black circle. This is the materials circle. Click on that and then click on new. And the only one we're going to be interested in here is diffuse. Basically it's asking what colour do you want the project to be. So you click on that, and you get this coloured ball thing, and you get to choose your colour, any colour you like. If you want green, you can go with green. If you want red, you go with red. Personally, I like blue, a nice light blue. As you can see, the project's changing as I'm selecting a colour. And that's it. And now you want to add a light source. So if you get your camera, you get your icon, and click it about there, just in front of your text and down below. And you click add, lamp, point. That should give you a nice source of light there. If you scroll around at the side here, have a look at it side on. As you can see, it's underneath the wire, the grid. I don't want that, I want it above the grid. But that'll do it, it's just above the grid. It's just in the middle. And it's just in front. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Now you want a camera, so if you click a bit further back in the middle and click add camera, and the last thing you want to do before we start animating is you want to get your camera into position. The way I do this, there's a lot of different ways of doing it, but this is my way, is if you split the screen into two, you do that by getting this wee triangle here and dragging it to the side, and that will give you a split screen. On the screen on the right, if you go to view and then camera, that will show you what the camera sees, and on the left you can adjust the camera. So you want to go up, as you see as it's going up, it's getting into the frame. That's roughly about the middle. I want to come back, and that's it, a little bit more. A little bit more. Almost there. Yeah, that'll do. Now I've got the text nice and centralised. what you want to do is click on this wee plus symbol here, or you can type in the letter N for November, and it brings out this tool panel. You only want to click one thing, this thing here, lock camera to view, right in the middle here, and you can click N for it to go away again, and that's just basically locking the camera into that angle. You can move the camera around if you like, upwards and down, forwards and back, whatever, but the camera will stay locked at that particular angle. And now we're ready to start animating. Okay, the first thing you want to do when you want to start animating is you need to establish your timeline. You do this by going up to the top right hand corner, left hand corner here, clicking on it, and going down to timeline. Again, this is my particular way of doing things. If you right click on that and click flip to top, that will bring your timeline to the top of the screen. By default it starts down below at the bottom of the screen, and I prefer it on top, so that's why I always click that. So after you've clicked that, drag this down, and you should just get a bunch of gibberish here, and then click timeline, and that's your timeline established. Okay, now you're going to start to decide on scenes, what the scene's going to be. As you can see, your starting point is already highlighted in green here at 0. So where do you want the starting point to be? Me personally, I would go into this camera on the right, zoom out, and I've established that as my starting point. You do that by clicking I for India, and this is the option here you want, visual rock scale. Click on that, and that's your first scene. Now this program animates things at about 24 frames per second, but for ease of use, you're probably better to think of it as 25 scenes per second. So you want to go into the 25th scene here, which is 1 second in. And where do you want the second scene to be? I'm going to scroll this back in here, and then visual lock scale. That's my second scene. Okay, scene 50, you want to click on 50. Where do you want your second scene to be? Or your second animated scene? And what I would like to do is using these arrows on the left to manipulate the camera. That's a very bit too much there. There, that'll do. Remember, this it seems like a while when you're actually animating it scene by scene, but when it's running, it runs really quickly. So this is going to be my second scene. Click I for India, visual lock scale, and click on that. Now I want to jump to the 75th frame. You can see on the top of the screen here with your wee green bar. And where do I want that to go? I'm using these arrows on the left hand screen. I'll move it along a wee bit, about that much will do, and clicking I, visual lock scale, and that's that set. Okay, number 100, 100's frame in. Again, I just want a wee bit further along. That'll do. And then clicking on the right, and I for India, lock scale, location rotation scale it means. Okay, 125. Again, along just a wee bit. And then I, visual lock scale, 150. I'll just scroll this down a wee bit. That'll do it. That's I again, visual lock scale. So that's me animated the main text quite a bit, and we're coming to the end of the animation now. So for scene 175, where do I want to go? I want to come out, zoom out, put there, put there, and then I want to click I. everything that's going on inside this rectangle on the right hand side, that's what the camera sees. So that's what's going to be involved in your animation. So at 175, I've just set the scene. Click I for India, visual lock rot scale. And that's animation complete. What I wanted to do now is I want the camera angle to stay exactly where it is for 2 seconds. So what I'm going to do is add another 50 frames up to the top here. I'm currently sitting at 175, and you can see here it's got the start and the end. I'm going to say that change the end to 225, and as you can see the dark grey area has just appeared there. That's the end of the animation. Now if you want to have a quick look through this, what you can do is get your wee green bar, take it back to the beginning and press play, and this will show you everything that's involved. On the right hand side will show you what the animation includes. I think that's just fine. Okay, now the very last thing we have to do is we have to render this animation, and you do that first by clicking on this wee camera image, and that will give you all sorts of options and stuff to play around with, but it's the only ones that we're really interested in is these ones down here. This wee folder here, as you can see, the output folder is by default goes to a temporary folder. I want it to go somewhere else, so I'll click on that, and I'll click on desktop and then accept. So now it's going to output it onto the desktop, and the output format by default is PNG, a PNG graphics file. We don't want that, we want a film file like AVI RAW. So click on AVI RAW, and that's changed that. Now to start to render this animation, you just click on the animation button here. Now it takes a wee while to render. It takes about 20 seconds for every second animation, which isn't too long, but it's, you know, it's a wee wait. And right now is about as good a time as any to tell you, please don't contact me with information requests or problems with Blender. I really don't know. I'm not a guru and I'm not an expert in Blender by anybody's standards. I'm just a guy that's learned a few things and wants to pass it on to the good people on YouTube. As I learn more and more Blender, I'll be uploading more Blender, so the tutorials will get better and they'll get more advanced as my knowledge of Blender increases. I think we'll just cut to the end here. And that's it rendered. If you minimise this, this is animation we've just made here. Let's double click this. It is portablefreewaregames.com. As simple as that. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you find it useful. I hope you subscribe. There will be more tutorials. Like I said, as my knowledge of Twitter increases, Blender, as my knowledge of Blender increases, so will the tutorials get more and more advanced, and we can all learn together. So enjoy, have fun, and please subscribe.